Say what? You want to stay here? Why are you living here? Just to spell it out to make things clear. Cast a spell on you, cast a revenue to imbue society, to take away pot from you. Cause your last name? Who's smoking you? Psychotic medications, who's controlled by you? Well, I got a point of view, dude. Human trafficking, any situation created to ask questions. Get drugs off the street and sell them discreet by society. From a pharmaceutical to cover up detrimental brainwaves to enthrall society. A backup of prisoners to work for free. I could start a civil war in land of the free with the metaverse. I could lower cost of living for anybody, wear a mask called communism in the community. Land of liberty, I'm not the communist, I'm just for the community. Cause commonwealth isn't common when so many are victim to acoustic intelligences, creating pain and creating prisons to create an escape for those who are so depressed they turn the music up just to listen, born in debt to Jesus. You get it? Inside of this country, everyone is dictated by religion, social circumstances, fear, and instinct. Every single one of these things are affected differently, but directly by persuasion and psychology. With an exceedingly growing national debt, I see people who build their credit in order to go into more debt. Being in debt is much like being a slave. In a modern age version of slavery, you don't own your possessions own you. You go to work for that car payment, for that house payment, for the new motorbike you purchased, to pay your taxes and all the things you do own, and etc. In retaliation to this debt, many people look for other ways out of this version of reality. So they look for drugs like methamphetamines, marijuana, opiates, LSD, and alcohol. They look for a different way of thinking, because the old way's not working. Because instinct is looking for dopamine release or something to make them happy, just to name a few. People choose what they are a slave to. I don't believe that they are bad people. I believe this is an agenda of self-correction of a failing economy based upon hundreds of agendas. Debt is a version of slavery, however, social engineering herds of ne'er-do-wellers into areas controlled by certain icons that idolize drugs, that idolize sex, that idolize violence, and show wealth as all of these things create a dichotomy. Simply because sex is a survival instinct, violence is a survival instinct, drugs are embedded as a survival instinct in that way of thinking, and starving people are going to steal food because that's survival. All these things can become addictive when people are depressed into situations. Then to see all these things idolized as the cool, the wealthy, the be rich like me, brainwash society as a whole into creating hoods that are in and out of jail. Could this possibly be a safety net? Let me explain. Land of the free has an illusion called free. You can never be free unless you are free of debt, free of influence, and free of addiction. Social engineering people into a hood, then broadcasting the same program, literally programs this herd of people into being under the influence of music, drugs, and want. The media with the right agendas could create hatred between two opposing gangs, to two opposing spouses, to two opposing forces because of multiple reasons. Oppositions create revenue. I mean, think about Democrats and Republicans, blood and Crips. Like, opposition creates revenue. It raises prices. However, that's just one agenda. Prisons are both state and privately owned, and money is power. Debt is slavery, but psychology is the safety net. If these people really are social engineered to the hood due to race, color, creed, origin, and background, then calculated into certain subcultures, could a felon economy, a desire for power, or self-correction of lowering the national debt predestine people into gangs, into prisons, into the government based on psychology? If the economy is failing, is it possible to find nonviolent prisoners and put them in small communistic companies that give them a living situation, that give them a paycheck, and give them freedom to make choices, as well as a sense of success? As long as they're nonviolent, then have these communistic companies skim off the top in order to counterbalance a national debt. In order to lower the national debt, put money back into the banks or to lower taxes, not for individuals' welfare, not for those who are already extremely wealthy, but for the sole purpose of lowering inflation, lowering taxes, and redefining an America with soul, ambition, and taste, and not call it an SAT score. I think conformity is the death of individualism. However, individualism is non-existent in a country born in debt. Persuasion is a teacher that can direct good intentions to be perceived as bad and vice versa. But being born in a Christian household, I feel like I can tell you that every single law that has ever been created in my nearly 28 years of living that you were told not to break is how our entire republic is being ran. Cancel culture can cancel anything with mass media. You're either a sports guy or a political guy. You're either a sexist or a racist. You're either on drugs or selling drugs, or you're a cop or a Karen. But everything is digitalized nowadays. Somebody could write the most amazing thing ever, make the best song ever, and post it. But because everything is digitalized nowadays, it could be blocked who's viewing that. Anything could be blocked who's viewing that. It has 100 views for 100 years. Or because it said the exact right things that felt like it could bring more control to a certain aspect or a certain group, it could have 1 million views overnight, but not really though. Simply because people are sheeple to persuasion. Well, 1 million people seen this, so I better watch it too. Or 1 million people bought this, I better buy it too, because people are sheep. Persuasion of fear through the mass media does not allow people to think for themselves. It directs the sheep into fearing that they need more bullets. It directs the sexy women into needing yoga pants due to fear of missing out. It directs the churches into seeking salvation for other sinners. It directs people into working every single day in order to pay for those things they were born in debt to because of fear and persuasion.